Okay, once again, from Marble Falls, Texas, I give you our friend Laura B. Take it away, Laura. You got to unmute, Laura. There you go.
Now?
Yep.
Okay, it showed unmuted on my end a minute ago. Hi, y'all. My name's Laura. I'm alcoholic. And truly, by the grace of God, I've been sober since April the 6th of 1987. Thank you, Howard and Kathy, and everyone who's doing service here at this meeting. We are at the bottom of page 62 this week, and we're going to read the paragraph that starts, "This is the how and the why of it." Just a little recap. We went over the above paragraph last week and kind of covered the fact that self-will cannot overcome self-will. Right? We can't fix what's broken with what's broken. And so they're pretty clear in that paragraph that we finished up on last week that says we had to have God's help. That's how they finished where we left off last week. And so now we're going to get directions about what that looks like because most of us don't know. That's why. Okay. This is the how and the why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. Why? It's my favorite sentence in the big book, or my second favorite sentence in the big book, because it didn't work. Right? We suck at it. That's what that's saying. Next, we decided that hereafter, in this drama of life, God's going to be the director. He is the principal. We are his agents. He is the father, and we are his children. Most good ideas are simple. And this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arch through which we passed to freedom. So lots of questions, right? The first time I read that, I had lots of questions. What does it mean, quit playing God? Right? Because I don't really see that I'm playing God. I really see that I'm just, trying to get my way, which is clearly what's best for everyone. Just ask me, right? And so what do we mean when we say quit playing God? And at this point, I hope that you're going through the book with a sponsor or another sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous who's already worked the steps, because they'll point out to you the astounding evidence to the contrary, right? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's why it says it didn't work, because we all ask this question. First of all, we have to quit playing God. Why? Right? Because God's good at his job. I, not so much, right? In spite of what I like to think. And what difference does it make if I'm trying to play God? Why is that a problem? We covered that last week, right? When I am in the bondage of self, I am separated from the power that is necessary to keep me sober for 24 hours. I cannot be consumed with me and connected to a power at the same time. They're mutually exclusive. I'm either in the bondage of self or I'm connected to that power. So when I'm playing God and I'm trying to arrange the lights, the scenery, the ballet, all that jazz, when I'm doing all the things that we've been reading about in the previous 2.5 pages, I am in the bondage of self. I'm running that show. And the end result always ended, it's always the same, right? Chaos, shame, dishonesty, fear, self-pity. That's where we end up. And if I stay there long enough, I'll wet it down, right? So why do we have to do this? Because it doesn't work. I will tell you that I have to ask in prayer for God to help me to quit doing his job. For a long, long time, I had to ask for help through prayer, because it's just not in my nature to just turn it over. Right? When I came in, they had this sign on the wall that said, "Let go and let God." And it was like, what does that even mean? How do you even do that? Well, it turns out the answer to that is work the steps. But I didn't know that. I don't intuitively let God. So I ask for help. Then it says, next we decided, I'm making a decision. right? That's all I'm doing here is I'm making a decision. Next, we decided that hereafter in this drama of life, I love that language, God was going to be our director. He is the principal. We are his agents. He is the father, and we are his children. I have sponsored a lot of people who have trouble with the idea of he is the father, we are his children, right? Find something that works, right? Find something that matches this concept that works. For me, for a long time, what I knew is that I'm a great employee. I know how to show up, get my assignment for the day, and knock it out of the park. So when I prayed, I would say, hey, boss man. And I could turn myself in the morning to get my assignment for the day. You know what I mean? And I give that power a full day's work for a full day's wage of sobriety. That concept fit me. It made sense to me. I'm grateful that I had sponsorship that allowed me to find something that fit me, right? Because my ego balks at he is the father and we are his children. My immediate response to that is don't tell me what to do. Right? Not everybody is that way, but if you find yourself struggling with this concept of director, agent, father, child, find a space that fits. The point of the paragraph is I'm not in charge. The point of the paragraph is that I am making a decision. I'm conceding the point. We began that process in step one. We look at all the evidence of the insanity of our lives, unmanageability, insanity of our lives, and insanity of our thinking. In step two, we've just spent 2.5 pages looking at what happens when we're trying to arrange life to suit ourselves, right? I'm really here making a decision to concede the point, to just say, so be it, right? Enough's enough. I'm clear that if I am in charge, I will create a world that I need to escape from. I am equally confident and have the experience, lots and lots and lots of the experience, that when God is in charge, I live a life I don't want to get out of, right? I live a life where I'm comfortable in my own skin most of the time. I'm aware of how blessed I am most of the time, right? I don't need to be somewhere else doing something else with somebody else. I don't need to avoid how I feel. And that's the point. The point is I'm making a decision to say enough. That's really it. I'm saying enough. Most good ideas are simple. And this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arch through which we pass to freedom. Okay, y'all. Now I shall tell you how uneducated I be. It took years for me to get this concept of cornerstone and keystone. We started a big book study in my living room in September of 1998. That's still going today. And we would talk through this keystone, cornerstone, foundation, blah, blah, blah. And I would nod and smile like I had some clue. I had no clue. And finally, in about 2000, it's probably 10 years later, it's 2008 probably. One of the guys that was coming was an architect. And he just noticed that I kind of had this glazed over look on my face. And he said, do you even know what we're talking about? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. He said, you have no idea what we're talking about, do you? And I was like, no, not really. And so he drew me a picture. And I wish I had it so I could share it with you. But maybe you all get it. I didn't get it. But the cornerstones are the two stones at the base of each side of the arch, right? And you can stack all of those stones up to get to the top of the arch. And the keystone is the thing that holds it all in place. The keystone is the thing that locks both sides of the arch together. If you don't have the keystone, eventually the arch is going to collapse, right? So it says this concept is the keystone. It's the thing that's gonna lock it all together to get us to freedom from untreated alcoholism, bondage of self, the obsession of the mind, right? Fear. So what is the concept, right? The concept is there is a power and I ain't that power, right? That's as simple as it gets. There is a God and it isn't me, right? And I'm making a decision when I make that decision to let God be the director or the boss or whatever you want to call it, the father, whatever you want to call it. When I make that decision to have the power that I believe in or don't believe in, quite frankly, even if you don't believe in it, it's okay. We don't care. When I make a decision that there is a power that would do a better job of running my life than I'm doing, I put that keystone in place. The willingness to continue. That's what the willingness to continue with the steps, the willingness to follow through to the prayer that's coming up, right? That's the keystone. I don't have to like it. And I'll tell you, the first time that I went through the steps, I didn't believe a word of this, but I took the action that the book was asking me to take, and I got the results that the book promised. Because I don't have to believe in it or feel it or agree with it or trust it. I just have to take the action. So if you're new and you're reading this and you're thinking you're a lunatic, that's cool. Everybody thinks I'm a lunatic, right? We're all nuts here. Right? It's okay. You don't have to believe in it. It's fine. Take the action anyway. What have you got to lose? Right? They used to say it all the time, and I don't hear it anymore. And maybe they still say it, and I just don't hear it anymore. But they used to say, give it a shot. And if you get through the process and you don't get the results, we will gladly refund your misery. And that's really where I was the first time I went through this. I thought, what have I got to lose? I knew it wasn't going to work for me. I knew you guys were full of it. I knew I was different from you, and it was never going to work for me. Took the action anyway, because what have I got to lose? Right? And I got the same results that you got. So don't get hung up here about what you believe or what you think or how you feel about it. Right? What was shared with me and what I would share with you, right, is find a concept, any kind of concept that is, there is a power, right? And some small inkling of willingness that perhaps that power could do a better job with your 2 square feet than you've been doing. When I hit my emotional sobriety bottom at 4 years and 2 months, I was dry as a fire hazard. And I was in a lot of pain. And this guy sitting across from me said, with the utmost compassion that the old timers always showed me, he said, Laura, a monkey could do a better job of managing your life than you're doing. And he was right. I couldn't even argue with him. It was just total chaos. I'd burned it to the ground. And over the years, I can get to this paragraph. Today, I can sit down at 4:00 in the afternoon after a really hectic day, and I can read this paragraph and I can be reminded one more time, it's all good, right? Because there is one who has all power. And I got up this morning and said, here, take it. And that decision that it's asking me to make at the bottom of page 62 is to just say, here, take it. And when I do that, I'm afforded the opportunity to move forward through the steps, to keep my seat in Alcoholics Anonymous, and eventually to get all of the promises that are in the book and a whole bunch of promises that aren't in the book. Right? There's a whole bunch of yummy goodness that happens in Alcoholics Anonymous in our lives when we stay in Alcoholics Anonymous that isn't written down. But you got to show up here to find out what that is. So belief is the cornerstone. The keystone is that willingness in step 3. And if I in the original manuscript, I think it's in the original manuscript. Somebody, I'm sure, will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the original manuscript, right here at the end of this paragraph, it says, "Get that simple relationship straight." I understand why they took it out, but I really love it. Right? I like simple and direct. And so I think that's all I've got on that for today.